So we're talking about the texting, I saw this little person there. We're talking about the texting storm that is taking over and what's happening in the texting world. We're talking to Lauren from Zingle. I think she's got a kid issue that just popped up. And we're trying to figure out how to navigate through what is now happening. And it's basically a regulation is being passed to protect the end user. Lauren is from Zingle and or Medallia. What did you call it? I'm sorry.
Medallia Concierge.
Concierge. And Medallia Concierge is what I use in my own practice. And the way that I use Medallia is I will basically let my practice members know if I'm running a few minutes late. I'll tell people to come at 3 instead of 5. I send a text out once a week saying these are our hours this week because my hours change. I'll send people a reminder of the homework that I gave them in between visits. It's a personalized way. These are not blanket automated texts. This is person to person. This is B2C so that my practice members feel like they have direct contact with me, but it's not my cell phone number. It's a private number. It's a compliant number. And I'm going through all the powers that be to make sure that I'm communicating with my practice members in a compliant way. So Lauren, tell us at the end of the day with this new regulation that's happening, how does it affect us as practitioners?
Sure. So you can relay to your patients that, you'll never be spammed. Your number is registered with this governing body, we'll call it, so that your number's protected. Essentially, you don't have to worry about this number getting across to marketers or any of that. It's really a pretty solid when it becomes part of the process. And I'll add, Jody, you mentioned that, it's helpful in preventing people from, calling your cell phone or texting your cell phone. It kind of allows you to separate home life from business life. A feature that a lot of our clients use is past office hours. You can automate a response that says, hey, we're out of office. We'll get back to you in the morning, so that they're not waiting for a reply to their text message. Additionally, if a patient tries to call that text number, they'll receive a text shortly after that said, this is our, texting line. Here's the number to call if you'd like to speak to somebody. So there are some automations built in to ensure that you're not, answering texts at 3 a.m. or not answering phone calls that could be urgent.
Mm-hmm. So what, here I am in Clinton, New Jersey, and I've got a practice and we use Medallia Concierge for our practice, aka Zingle, for those of you that know it by Zingle. And what's starting to happen for me and a lot of my clients is I'm hearing, Jody, my text messages aren't going through. Jody, I'm hearing about this PC 32579 and I don't know what any of it means. So what does it mean to us, what's happening in the texting world, and what do we do about it?
Sure. So A2P is app to person, and that's essentially many of the platforms, including Zingle, what it's called. And then 10DLC is the 10-digit phone number. And essentially,
so not fancy. I thought it was like this whole
yeah, everything's an acronym these days. It's hard to keep up with, but that's what that means. So essentially, because all numbers are not quite registered, the carriers are really coming down on hard and what they see flagged as potential spam. And what tends to happen is really long text messages that may include a lot of digits, emojis, plus signs, dollar signs. Those tend to get flagged. And additionally, mass text. So those going out to multiple people. So we've seen lately that they're flagging more than they ever have. We have a preventative measure, I'd say, in our system where you can see if a message didn't go through. I know there's been some feedback from, well, I don't know if they got my message, or I asked them to come earlier, but I'm not sure if they saw it. So you can see one by one which texts made it through and which were flagged by the carriers.
And just for the people who are listening who haven't, so what do you guys, if you're a newbie in the Staffless Practice world, one of the programs that we offer at Staffless Practice Academy is called SPA-TRI, Staffless Practice Academy Trimester. And we have an email kit and we work with Google Workspace. We have a phone kit, we work with your phone line, and we have a texting kit. And the texting kit leads you to getting an account with Medallia, because it truly is the most simplistic way to go. So for those of you who have already have an account, how do we see that? Lauren, can you just give us a quick, by the way, like go here and do this to see what messages went through?
Yeah, absolutely. So when you're logged into your system, you'll see a tab. I think it's about 4 tabs over, called Analytics. Go ahead and click on that tab. And then the 4th one down, I'm doing this off of memory, but I have it right in front of me. So let me just double check. The 3rd one down is message delivery. In there, it'll have each message that was sent. It's very clear which one wasn't. There's a red kind of identifier there. And if you hover over it, it will give you the reason. You'll see that most cases are because they're flagged by the carrier. In other cases, you'll see maybe a text went to a landline. It will flag that as a landline number. Or if a number just does not exist, it will flag that as well.
Got it. And just an FYI, you guys, I don't send long texts. I don't really I put my purple heart in every text. That's just about it. And I, knock wood, I have not been flagged yet. So I make sure when I send a text, I don't go over that number. It's like, it'll show you how many digits you have left to be considered a long text. And I do send a group text out every week. I send my office hours out. So once you're in text hell, I'm going to call it, and you've been flagged once, what happens then? What are the patterns that you're seeing? How long does it take to get out of text hell?
Mm-hmm. The timing, we're kind of at the mercy of the US carriers and that registration process. But in order to register, and Jody, is that what you'd like to get into now, like the registration process?
Yeah, so if you guys are already Medallia Concierge clients, otherwise known as Zingle, and we got you set up, then you go through us and we'll get you the link that you need. If you are not yet set up with a texting account and this is something that you're interested in, then I'm going to drop a link below to make it super inexpensive for you to have an account with Medallia. But please tell us, like, so for the people who are like, yes, I've been flagged, yes, this is part of what's happening to me, what's the process of getting out of it based on what you've seen?
Sure. So first of all, I apologize for, I know that's not a fun experience to not know if texts went out or if they didn't. And I wish it was in Zingle's Medallia Concierge's control to change that, but we're at the mercy of this new regulation. So essentially, to register your number in the help drop down when you're logged into the system, and this is, Jody's going to post the link as well, but it'll guide you through kind of all the backstory of what needs to be done. And there's a form that requests information like your business ID number, the name of your company address, kind of the basic information. From there, our team receives it. We review it and ensure everything checks out, and then it's off to the carriers, which at that point is a few weeks waiting game for them to put the stamp of approval. It's registered. And from that point on, we don't expect any delivery issues to occur once registered.
Well, you know, it's in one of our clients called me this morning and she actually texted me, right? And she said one of the things that she needed like ASAP was some kind of a page on her website so that people can opt into being texted. And that's something that we can create within a matter of minutes, as long as we have access to editing your website. So what I had to do for my practice, and I did this in like 10, it took me maybe 10 minutes to fill out the application this morning. And I've already gotten a text back saying, just drop it. What does it say? Something about type back a yes if this is your actual number. What is that?
The opt-in. Yeah, so essentially we would set up an automation where once they text that number, it'll request the name and any other information and then include it into the system.
No, I mean, when I submitted my application this morning to the concierge, and within like an hour, I got a text back from like a 5-digit number saying, please opt in for whatever this process is, the process of going through the regulations. So what was that text for?
That was really fast. So our team was aware that we were meeting today.
I knew it was me, right?
Yeah, and that all your folks were coming in. So they had gone through the registration form. It all looked good. So they had sent it off to the carriers, and that's what that was.
And you guys, just be smart about it. Like, don't spam your people. One of the questions that came up was, is this just a US problem?
It is. It's US carriers right now. So I don't think it's an issue it's something that's going down in Canada. And I'm not sure of other countries, but definitely in the US.
That's really good to know. What about, another question that came up is, I know that this is happening, people think that this is unique to their texting program, but it's not. This is for all texting. Anybody who uses a group texting app for their practice is going to run into this. I actually, tomorrow evening, we're talking to Jeff from HIPAA-Mate. He's going to answer questions about compliance. And Greg from Attractwell, he's going to answer questions about when you're in texting hell, what's the plan B to get messages out to your people through email. And we're going to show you what all of that looks like. And then on Saturday evening, if you are in texting hell and you need an interim solution, we call it 2 birds, 1 scone, where you have a whole system that you implement. It's kind of like a Band-Aid for when you're in texting hell. And it has to do with using Google Voice. The problem with Google Voice, and this is another question that comes up, is you can only text a few people at once. I think it's up to 5 people at once. But does something like Google Voice have to go through this whole regulation too, or is it different?
I'm not sure how Google Voice is set up. I assume that it is the numbers are distributed through a carrier, and it's from the carrier level where this regulation has been put in place. So yeah, I don't know enough to answer.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well,
and
yeah,
that's something that we're going to go over, exhaustively on Saturday. And I'm trying to get people who are experts in that world to come onto Saturday's webinar to answer questions. Is there anything else that you, so let me go back to the question when you're in texting hell. What's your guesstimate, Lauren? Like, if somebody's been having problems sending texts out for the past few weeks and they submit this application and you get it to the carrier because it looks good, what are you guessing the process is from there?
It's kind of a waiting game on our part, but we do have a timeline. They're telling us 2 to 4 weeks is what we can expect. Our team here at Zingle has put a pretty good partnership with the carrier that we use in getting our cases prioritized or surfaced to the top. So I'd like to think it's closer to the 2-week mark than the 4-week mark, but it's a little bit out of our control. So kind of a timing game from then. And once we get approval, everything will be smooth sailing again.
Awesome. And on our end, we can, if you need a texting program for your practice, we can get you set up with Zingle. We can, Medallia concierge, sorry, it's going to take me a minute too. We can get your templates in. One of the things I love most about using Medallia concierge is there are so many templates, like my Zoom link, directions to my office, what to say if somebody asks about my fees. I just sent somebody 3 different templates in a row because she was saying, hi, I'm interested in being a new patient. Are you taking new patients. I have a template saying, yes, we're taking new patients. We're really excited to serve you. Here's a link to our website. Her next question was, how much is your initial consultation fee, and do you take insurance? And those are 2 other templates. You guys, it took me 3 seconds to answer these questions, and I did it from my phone while I was at the mall. So that's how simple, and we can put all of that together for you. I had another really good question, and I'm trying to think of what it was. Oh, can you give us a perspective, Lauren, on how big your company is? Because everywhere I go, I feel like I see Medallia concierge. Like, I was at a Marriott vacation club, and it said, text us at thanks to, I see it everywhere I go. So how big is the company Medallia Concierge?
Yeah, so Medallia Concierge fits under Medallia, which offers pretty much the whole customer experience suite, a lot of surveying, insight into guest and customer feedback. And Medallia Concierge as the messaging product, we have, I think the most recent count was about 6,000 end users. Some larger businesses will have multiple different lines, one to communicate with their employees, maybe one of their, Florida location, and so on. So there's a lot of really interesting things you can do with the text messaging platform, the automations, the templates that Jody was talking about. And within the system, there's a lot of tips and forms and videos on how you can really use it to the most of its ability.
Awesome. And again, you guys, if you're just Joe Schmo coming off the street, you're going to pay a pretty penny for a texting program. If you are a member of the Joy-Filled Practice Club, it's going to be $99 a month for you. And then it will go up by 5% per year, as long as you're a club member. So I have a question. What if we filled out the application yesterday and didn't get that text that Dr. Jody's referring to?
It should come shortly. They're just reviewing them as they come in. I think Jody, yours went through so quickly because I'd given them a heads up. I'll go ahead and send over all of everybody within the Staffless Practice group to move to the top of the list. So you should be expecting something soon.
Yeah, if you're a Staffless Practice client, what you're going to notice, even if you're just a Joy-Filled Practice Club client, which is a group coaching program that we offer, it's only $89 a month to be in this, and you get all kinds of perks, including this discount. If you're one of those clients, you're going to notice that I've got Lauren, who I can reach out to, and within at least no more than a day, I'm going to hear back from her. Your problems will go to the top of the list because they're at the top of my list. And if they're at the top of my list, I feel like I've got a really good rapport with Lauren and her team to get answers for you as soon as possible. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, cool. Let me just see. You're welcome, Jen. And it looks like we've got a lot of listeners on. Is there anything else that you want to tell us or share with us? Anything at all?
The last thing I'll mention was the HIPAA compliance, since that came up. We are HIPAA compliant for all of our healthcare industry clients. So it's completely private, follows all the standards, and there's nothing to worry about there.
I love that. And you guys, you're hearing me say it. Don't text your patients from your cell phone. If you're hearing me say it, you can't do it, you guys. You need to be on a compliant app to do it. And I'm saying that as like your practice's best friend and your sister from another mister. I want you to have your I's dotted and T's crossed. So Lauren, thank you for your time. You always make yourself available, and I really appreciate it. And I'm wishing you guys as much ease through this process as possible.
Thank you.
Please join us tomorrow evening. We're talking HIPAA compliance and we're talking email solutions. Saturday evening, we're going to be talking about the Band-Aid for if you're in texting hell, what do you do? Lauren, thanks for your time. And I'll drop a link to getting an account with Medallia now.
Thank you. Goodbye.